My little sister accidentally fell into a well. When the firefighters arrived, they all shook their heads, saying helplessly that the well opening was too small for an adult to go down. At that moment, Mom and Dad's gazes met mine. They gently stroked my little head. "Good girl, just think of it as a game. Only you can save your sister." I nodded blankly. With ropes tied around my legs, I was lowered into the well again and again. Eventually, I managed to retrieve my sister. But I was forgotten. I died alone in the well. My body was aching, and it was dark inside the well. "Mom, Dad, this game isn't fun at all." A firefighter knelt on one knee, carefully tying a rope around my leg. The rough rope chafed my skin, making it burn. I looked down at the bottomless sewer, feeling scared, and involuntarily took 2 steps back. "Little one, don't be afraid." The firefighter noticed me trembling and spoke very softly. "We'll hold the rope tight. We won't let you fall. Remember, whether you touch her or not, if you feel uncomfortable, tug the rope 3 times, and we'll pull you up immediately, okay?" They wanted to say more, but Mom interrupted. "All right, what danger could there be? Can you be quicker?" She crouched down and put a headlamp on me. "Honey, your sister must be so scared down there. You swear you'll find her?" She paused, staring intently into my eyes. "Your sister has protected you for so long. It's your turn to protect her this time." When I was 3, I was diagnosed with leukemia and urgently needed a bone marrow transplant. But the doctors searched the entire bone marrow registry and couldn't find a match. So my little sister came into this world. Mom and Dad used to comfort me. "Your sister is here for you. We'll always love you the most." But seeing my sister's small body covered in needle marks, being wheeled into the operating room again and again, crying heartbreakingly, they slowly changed. They would question me with red eyes, asking why I had to get sick, why I had to burden my sister. The look in their eyes changed from heartache to resentment. But I was always obedient. I didn't cry and I didn't make a fuss, because I knew that my life was bought with my sister's countless painful experiences. I owed her. Thinking of this, I nodded to Mom emphatically. "Don't worry, I'll definitely bring my sister back safely, even if it costs me my life." As soon as the words left my mouth, before I could prepare, Dad grabbed my waist and shoved me headfirst into the well. The cold well wall instantly pressed against my cheeks and ears. A stench of sewage filled the air, but the well opening was too narrow. My head barely fit before my shoulders were stuck, unable to move. "Stop. She's stuck. Pull her up a little." I immediately heard the firefighters' anxious shouts from above. I could feel the rope jerk and stop lowering. "Little one, don't panic. Try twisting your shoulders to find a better angle." Following his instructions, I struggled to twist my body, but the space was too limited. How could she get stuck? "Can't you be thinner? Your sister is waiting for you down there." But I was already very thin. Due to the side effects of chemotherapy for leukemia, I was smaller than children my age, almost all skin and bones. The doctor said getting thinner would kill me. "Don't rush, let the child adjust, safety first," the firefighter reassured Mom. But the next second, Dad suddenly reached down and grabbed my legs, forcing me further down. "Good daughter, bear with it. When you save your sister, Dad will buy you a sweet little cake." The rough concrete wall scraped my shoulders raw. "I'm sorry, Dad, it hurts too much." I couldn't help but cry out. Tears started to flow uncontrollably. This parent can't force it. The child will get hurt. She's only hurt. My little daughter is down there, her life hanging in the balance. Do you know what's important? I understand your feelings, but this way both children will be in danger. I don't care. Since you said only she can go down, she has to go down. They started arguing above. It was all my fault for not making everyone happy. A sense of guilt washed over me. I gritted my teeth, twisted with all my might, and the bones cracked and creaked. Finally, I squeezed through. The arguing stopped. Mom and Dad watched excitedly, quickly releasing the rope and letting me drop down. "Good daughter, you're amazing. Quick, find your sister." The well was dark and deep. The small headlamp couldn't reach the bottom. Being suspended upside down was causing my brain to throb and my vision to blur. I could only endure the pain and shout, "Sister, where are you? Big sister is here to save you." But only a hollow echo answered me. Moreover, as the rope lowered me, I realized the situation at the bottom of the well was more complex than I imagined. It wasn't straight up and down. There were some branching pipes on the sides. If my sister had been swept away by the sewage, she could be in one of those side passages. Did you find her? Did you see your sister? Mom's voice floated down from above, filled with unprecedented urgency. No, I didn't see her. I shouted up, crying. Nothing. How can you not see her? Try harder. Baby, try harder. Are you slacking off? Are you throwing a tantrum because you got hurt just now? That's your sister. How can you bear to watch her die? It was cold in the well, but Mom and Dad's words were colder than the deep well. Why did they misunderstand me? I wanted to find my sister more than anyone. Besides owing her a life. She was also my family. A cute little pink dumpling who loved to cling to me. During chemotherapy, Mom and Dad thought I was sickly, but she was the only one who would stay by my side, shouting pain, go away. Time passed, and I started to shiver. My body became numb. It's been too long. We have to pull the child up first or she'll be in danger. The firefighter's resolute voice came. At the same time, the rope began to rise slowly. The ascent was just as painful, the injured areas rubbing back and forth. But I couldn't feel much anymore. After getting out of the well, I collapsed on the ground. My clothes were already soaked in blood. Mom's gaze passed over my wounds, looking at me with disappointment. You're so much worse than your sister. Why wasn't it you who fell down? Yeah. My sister gave me her umbilical cord blood when she was born. Stem cell donation at 1 year old. Bone marrow donation at 3. Tube insertions, surgeries one after another. She's so amazing. And I'm so useless. The firefighter uncle wrapped me in a thermal blanket, asking about the situation at the bottom of the well. I answered truthfully. At that moment, Dad suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Since you're familiar with the environment down there, go down one more time. Mom's dead eyes also lit up, hugging me tightly. She didn't notice her fingers pressing on my wound, making me hiss in pain. She just coaxed me. That's right, baby, you didn't try hard enough just now, you'll definitely find her this time. Are you crazy? The child is already injured, she can't go down again. We'll find a new way as soon as possible. But I knew I had no choice. If I lost my sister today, then I would become a sinner, and lose Mom and Dad at the same time. No one would love me anymore. I didn't want to become an orphan. I wanted my family to be together. So I raised my little hand. Uncle, I can still do it. Mom kissed my cheek. Good daughter, I knew you were the most sensible. Her voice was as gentle as a feather, but it weighed on me, making it hard to breathe. Whether your sister lives or not depends on you. Don't let us down this time. And so, I was lowered down again. The second descent into darkness, my body felt even colder. Every second was torture. Fortunately, I was a little more familiar with the environment in the well. I tried my best to use the headlamp to search for my sister, but still, there were no results. I was pulled up again, exhausted. This time I was greeted by an even deeper silence from Mom and Dad, an undisguised disappointment. No one asked if I was in pain or cold. They didn't even look at me, just surrounded the firefighters, urging them to try again. Try one more time, the last time. My little daughter must be somewhere down there, we just didn't see her. But the child is almost at her limit, she can't take it. My little daughter can't wait. Send her down immediately. So, there was a third time, a fourth time. I was hoisted up and down like a piece of cargo. Cold, pain, despair, exhaustion. All kinds of feelings intertwined. Just when I thought I might die in the well, my eyes lit up, and I finally saw my sister. She had been washed by the sewage to a very hidden corner. She was curled up, her little mouth slightly open. I didn't have the strength to shout to her anymore. Fortunately, her chest was constantly rising and falling, confirming that she was still alive. A heavy weight suddenly lifted from my heart. My extremely tense nerves suddenly relaxed, followed by a strong feeling of weakness. My consciousness slowly blurred. I wanted to go up and rest before coming down to save my sister. So I used my last bit of strength to raise my arm with difficulty and tugged on the rope 3 times as agreed. This was the code I had agreed upon with the firefighter uncle. But the rope didn't move. Only vague arguments. She tugged the rope. Pull her up quickly. Wait, how long has she been down there? Are you sure she didn't make a mistake? Let her look again. Maybe she's just a little bit away. No. She must come up immediately. Give her one more minute, just 1 minute. Fortunately, the firefighter uncle won in the end. I was pulled up. Before Mom and Dad's resentful accusations could fall, I squeezed out a weak voice, but loud enough for everyone to hear. My sister is alive. I found her. As soon as the words fell, the two of them immediately changed their expressions, tears welling up in their eyes. Really? She's alive? They squatted down and hugged me, gently stroking the top of my head, their eyes filled with a long-lost satisfaction. Good child. I knew you could do it. In that moment, it felt like I had Dad and Mom's love again, and returned to that time of being loved. I rubbed my head against them like a puppy. However, this warmth only lasted for a few seconds. Quick! Go down and bring your sister back after you've rested. So this love came with conditions. I struggled to stand up, but my body had just straightened when I fell straight down, my chin slammed into the concrete floor, and I bled a lot. My body was completely exhausted. My legs were limp, I couldn't even stand, let alone go down the well. Dad suddenly slapped me. The force was so great that blood flowed directly from the corner of my mouth. Good daughter, don't blame me. See if you can wake up a bit if you're in pain. There's only one last step left. Your sister is waiting for you. But I still couldn't muster any strength. I got up again and again, and fell down again and again. Mom lost her patience, stepped forward, grabbed me forcefully, and brutally lifted me from the ground. You're such a jinx. It's always like this. You always mess things up. She was right. Dad and Mom got married and could have lived happily, but then I was diagnosed with leukemia and became a burden to them. Then my sister was born, and seeing that the umbilical cord blood cured the disease, who knew that it would relapse later and require a bone marrow donation? Now just when we were about to rescue my sister, I couldn't get up again. No wonder Dad and Mom didn't like me. The firefighter uncle's tall body stood between me and Mom and Dad, preventing me from being hurt again. After a deathly silence, Dad suddenly remembered something, and a complex emotion flashed in his eyes. Dad squatted down in front of me again, his eyes bloodshot, and lowered his voice. Good daughter, look at me. The moment I saw his hand waving in front of my eyes, I knew what he was going to do. When I was first diagnosed with leukemia, Dad taught himself a form of hypnosis-like psychological therapy to alleviate my pain during chemotherapy. Now this method was being used on me again. Only the scene was different. Good daughter, listen to me. Imagine that you still have strength. You must muster it for your sister. We are an indispensable family. Promise me you'll bring her up. Dad's words were like irresistible magic, and an abnormal heat actually welled up from deep within my body. I really stood up, but my body was light and airy, devoid of any sensation. Quick! Arrange for her to go down the well. Dad exclaimed, seeing it was working. The firefighter uncle looked at the scene in disbelief. Her body can't take it anymore. Forcing her beyond her limits like this will kill her. Dad pushed his hand away, his eyes filled with madness. It's not that serious, it'll just make her a little tired. Don't I know my own child? If anything happens to my younger daughter down there, can any of you take responsibility? I'd lost count of how many times I'd been stuffed into the well. But I knew this would be the last. Dad's hypnosis was very effective. Without the burden of pain, my body became more nimble. I didn't even notice when a sharp rock cut a deep gash in my waist as I squeezed through a narrow passage. I only had one thought in my mind, and that was to bring my sister home. My sister was still curled up there, like a sleeping doll. Using the method the firefighter uncle had taught me, I securely fastened the safety rope around her, then tugged on the rope 3 times. The hole was too narrow, only one person could go up at a time. Seeing my sister being pulled up steadily, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was all over. A few minutes later, I heard my parents' ecstatic, distorted cries of joy. Like a little mouse, I leaned against the slippery well wall, eavesdropping on their love for my sister. Then I comforted myself. It's okay, when I get up, Mom and Dad will hold me like that too. But I waited and waited, and waited and waited, only to hear the sound of cheers, then the car engine starting. I tentatively called for help. Dad, Mom, I'm still down here. Please come save me. Until my throat was hoarse, no one responded to me. They seemed to have forgotten me in the well. Didn't they want me anymore? Even worse, the hypnosis wore off, and the pain came back a million times stronger. The pain was so intense that I couldn't control my bowels, and my whole body spasmed. Dad, Mom, where are you? All the blood in my body was flowing out. It was so cold, so cold. I could only crawl little by little to the corner where my sister had just been lying, hoping it would be warmer. I wanted to live a little longer, until they remembered me. But until I died, not a single person appeared at the well opening. My body slowly floated up, and seeing my own corpse, I couldn't help but feel sad. Fortunately, I was dead, and I could finally leave the dark and cold well. I floated to Mom's side. Mom was taking care of my sister at the hospital, carefully tending to her scraped finger. Suddenly the phone rang. The voice of the firefighter uncle came from the other end. We need to confirm something on our end. You did bring your older daughter up, right? Mom's hand stiffened, her voice trembling slightly. Didn't you guys bring her up? An iodine swab fell onto the snow-white bedsheet, leaving a yellow stain. The firefighter uncle's tone was undeniable. You repeatedly emphasized that both children had been sent up, and we checked many times before calling it a day. Mom opened her mouth slightly, her mind a jumble. All her attention had been on her recovered younger daughter, and it seemed she had impatiently shouted at someone asking questions. She's up, they're both up, hurry to the hospital. At this moment, my sister on the hospital bed suddenly moved, making a soft whimper, instantly pulling Mom's thoughts back. Little Bao, be good, Mom's here, Little Bao, don't be afraid. She quickly leaned down and gently patted my sister's back. Then she casually fobbed off the phone call. Her dad probably pulled her up. I'll ask him later. I need to take care of my younger daughter. I'll hang up first. I watched the screen go dark, and muttered, Mom, I didn't come up. You forgot me in the well. Unfortunately, souls are silent. I sighed and floated to my sister's bedside. Her small body was wrapped in a hospital gown, her face pale, and her lips were chapped. She used to lie like this, repeatedly undergoing punctures, to donate bone marrow to me. Every time the surgery ended, even if she was very uncomfortable herself, she would always ask Mom first, is my blood enough to save my sister? She'll be okay, right? Every time, my heart was torn. I felt guilty about why I had to get sick, why I had to make my sister suffer time and time again. I understood that Mom and Dad resented me, because I also hated myself. Fortunately, this time I saved my sister. I used everything, including my own life, to protect her. It was worth it. My sister frowned slightly, as if she was uncomfortable in her dream. I reached out, wanting to gently stroke her head like she used to do for me, and tell her pain, fly away. But my fingertips passed right through her hair. I couldn't touch anything. I stood there in a daze. Before I could feel sad, Dad pushed open the door and came in. He was carrying a small cake, pink, very cute. The only pity was that it had mango filling. I'm allergic to mangoes. This was bought for my sister. I could only swallow my saliva. Dad, you seem to have forgotten. When I was physically exhausted, when I was repeatedly hoisted and stuffed into the well, you promised me that you would reward me with a sweet little cake once you rescued my sister. But it doesn't matter. I'm dead anyway. It would be a waste to buy it. Dad stayed with Mom, protecting my sister by her bedside. The family of 3 was infinitely warm and harmonious. Maybe my departure was the right thing to do. At this moment, Mom remembered the firefighter uncle's phone number, and asked Dad where I was. Dad looked shocked. What nonsense are you talking about? I was rushing to take Xiao Bao to the ambulance. Didn't I leave you there to handle the rest? I was with Xiao Bao, and I let you go. They both assumed the other would take care of me, unaware that no one cared about me at all. Their argument was filled with intense panic. It's all my fault, bringing gloom to this family again. Just as they were red-faced, Mom's phone rang again, and she shakily put it on speakerphone. Ma'am, we felt uneasy and went back to check the scene again. The firefighter uncle's voice was especially heavy. The detector shows that your older daughter is still down there. Mom hurriedly asked, how is she? Is she injured? When can you pull her up? Perhaps feeling unwilling to say it, the other end of the line was silent for a long time before answering. We've confirmed repeatedly that she no longer has any vital signs. As the words fell, Mom and Dad opened their mouths, but couldn't make a sound. Compared to their sadness, I felt a bit more relieved. I breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. At least my body won't rot and stink in the well. Mom and Dad drove to the scene. They sped the entire time. Watching the traffic they almost crashed into, my heart pounded. Fortunately, they finally arrived safely. Dad scrambled to the well and grabbed the firefighter uncle's collar. My daughter is just tired and fell asleep. Please find a way to pull her up. I'll pay anything. 10,000. A million. I can afford it. The firefighter uncle didn't break free, but instead pulled up a video recorded by the detector. In the video, my clothes were all stained reddish-brown, and my cheeks and exposed skin had terrifying bluish-black spots, and my chest wasn't rising or falling at all. It was clear whether I was dead or alive. She was curled up in the same spot where the other little girl fainted, probably just trying to find a corner to keep warm at the end. Because I was already dead, the rescue had no further worries. The firefighter uncle directly used a large excavator to break open the well, and slowly dug down. Gravel and dirt flew everywhere. Suddenly, Mom stared at a piece of the well wall that had been dug up and screamed. Only then did everyone notice that the well wall was covered in large patches of blood stains and scratches with bits of flesh. I remembered. That was from when I was stuck in the narrow passage, and it hurt so much that I scratched it with my fingernails. The excavator dug all night, and my body was finally brought out. To make me look more presentable, the firefighter uncle covered me with a white cloth before lifting me in front of Mom and Dad. I floated in the sky and looked at them gratefully. After all, no child wants their parents to see them looking dirty and ugly. Mom knelt on the ground. She lunged forward to hug me, but her hand hovered in the air for a long time, not daring to touch me. Baby, wake up, Mom's here. It was Mom's fault. Mom shouldn't have left you in the well. Don't be angry anymore. Open your eyes and look at Mom, okay? She was incoherent, and large tears fell onto my face one by one. I remembered when I was first diagnosed with leukemia. Mom hugged me and cried like this, heartbroken. At that time, I would obediently wipe away her tears and tell her not to worry. But now, I can no longer comfort her. The forensic doctor quickly completed the preliminary autopsy. She stared at Mom and Dad with cold eyes, and her voice was full of accusation. Extensive damage to both shoulders, all 10 fingernails turned outward and fell off, multiple fractures in the limbs, and an open laceration in the waist, the main point of blood loss. Almost no good skin on the whole body. It's hard to imagine how much pain she was in before she died. After hearing this, Dad suddenly raised his hand and slapped himself in the face with all his strength. The crisp sound rang out again and again. His face immediately swelled up, and blood began to seep from the corner of his mouth. I'm really not human. How could I let Dabao go down the well to save her sister? She's my daughter too. She's my first child. How scared she must have been. It's all my fault for not protecting her. I killed her. Dad recalled everything about himself, and began to punish himself in a self-abusive way. Watching my always proud dad become like this, I wanted to stop him, but I was still powerless. Dad, I don't blame you. I know you didn't do it on purpose. You were just too worried about your sister. This time it was an accident. My body was sent to the crematorium amidst wails. It became a small urn. That night, Mom knelt in front of the urn all night to atone for me. She was mentally distraught. She kept murmuring, Dabao, didn't you usually like to cling to Mom the most? Why aren't you talking today? When the next day came, she suddenly stood up as if she remembered something. She rushed to the kitchen and busied herself. Steamed crab, garlic prawns, and strawberry shortcake. All my favorites. Mom packed it up and came to the scene of the accident, carefully feeding it into the well with a spoon. Dabao, time to eat. Do you like today's food? Open your mouth. Is it delicious? If it's delicious, Mom will make it for you again tomorrow. After speaking, she put her ear to the well wall, as if waiting for a response. Then, afraid that I was cold, she threw down warm clothes and a small hat. She sang songs and chatted with me. Passers-by whispered, "This woman is crazy. I heard her daughter died down there." When Mom heard this, she would glare at the person who was talking. Who said my daughter is dead? My Dabao is the most sensible, She'll come out naturally when she's not angry anymore. She's cold and hungry down there. I have to stay here with her. Yes, Mom. When I was waiting to die, I also felt cold and hungry. At that time, I hoped someone would remember me. But now it's too late. After dark, the construction team arrived and said that the well had been emptied and there was a danger of collapse, so it needed to be filled. At the time, Mom was holding my little lamb doll, telling a bedtime story to the well. When she saw this scene, she rushed to the well and protected it with her body. Don't tear it down. My daughter is still down there. You'll crush her. The foreman tried to reason with her. Madam, your daughter has already passed away. She can't come back no matter what. Nonsense. Mom grabbed a handful of dirt and threw it at him. She was just talking to me, saying that if I spend more time with her, she'll forgive me. Don't be afraid, baby. Mom will never leave you alone this time. Later, there was really no other way, and 3 strong men stepped forward to pull her away. Amidst the chaos, her head was hit, and she bled a lot. I couldn't stand in front of my mother. I could only watch helplessly as she was bullied. I was so anxious I kept crying. Finally, the foreman called the police, who injected her with a sedative before taking her away. When Mom woke up, she was in the hospital. The doctor shook his head. Because she was so traumatized, her brain will refuse to accept certain realities to protect itself, so you'll feel like your daughter is still here, that you can hear her and see her. After taking the medicine, Mom's mood stabilized a lot. Dad gently patted her back beside her. Sunlight streamed in through the window. That's when I realized that Dad had aged 10 years overnight, looking exceptionally haggard, with a large patch of white hair. How could my most respected and amazing dad become like this? After the doctor finished talking about Mom's condition, his tone lightened a bit. But there's good news, your younger daughter just woke up. Go see her. My sister woke up. I floated in the air. The gloom in my heart swept away. She was the only hope for this broken family. But Mom and Dad didn't seem too excited. They moved their mouths, but didn't know what to say. Finally, they silently walked into the intensive care unit. Dad, Mom. Where's Big Sister? Why can't I see Big Sister? I suddenly remembered that when my leukemia relapsed, the first thing my sister did when she woke up from the hospital bed after donating bone marrow was also to look for me. My eyes reddened. I didn't expect to be able to shed tears even after becoming a soul. The emotions Mom and Dad had managed to compose instantly choked them up again when they heard this sentence. Big Sister is at home. When little Treasure gets better, she can go play with Big Sister. My sister couldn't tell it was a lie, smiled and nodded, and then fell back into a coma. The doctor said, after all, she fell from a place more than 10 meters high, and she still needs to be treated slowly. More than 10 meters. My sister must be in a lot of pain. I stayed by the bedside and blew air on her wounds. I hoped she would get better soon. But contrary to my wishes, a few hours later, the monitor connected to my sister suddenly made a piercing sound. The curve on it kept shaking, and finally plummeted like a kite. I saw many doctors and nurses rush in. They tore open my sister's hospital gown, and used a defibrillator to resuscitate her. My sister's small body was like a tattered rag doll, jolted up and down by the electric shock. But in the end, the monitor still showed a straight line. Her hand hung beside the bed, unable to move anymore. When Mom and Dad came in, they saw the doctor's grave expression, and their hearts plummeted. The child's condition suddenly deteriorated. We didn't want to see this happen either. Please accept our condolences. My sister also died. She was clearly getting better. How could this happen? She will never laugh or make noise again, never sweetly act spoiled towards everyone. Her life was also very bitter. She kept going to the operating table for me. In the end, I still couldn't save her. I'm so useless. I cried bitterly with Mom and Dad. Everything was fine just a few hours ago. Why does heaven want us to experience suffering again and again, and finally be torn apart? Happiness has never favored our family of 4. My sister also became a small urn, placed next to mine. The house was lifeless. Mom hadn't said a complete sentence for many days. She just sat blankly on the sofa, staring blankly at the 2 portraits. Until that afternoon, she suddenly remembered that there was a photo album in the storage cabinet that hadn't been opened for a long time. Mom trembled and carefully opened it. The first page was when I was just born, being held in her arms like a kitten. Mom's fingers stroked my wrinkled little face in the photo. DeBeo, my daughter. She slowly flipped through, memories of the past flooding back like a tide. At that time, I was the happiest child in the world. The first time I learned to walk, Mom smiled incredibly gently beside me. The first time I braided my hair, she patiently adjusted it again and again. The first time I got an award certificate, the light in Mom's eyes was brighter than mine. Until after my sister was born, the picture started to change. I gradually went from being the protagonist in the lens to the periphery, until I completely disappeared. You clearly said you would love you forever. How did it change? Being sick was never your fault. You've suffered so much torture. It's already pitiful enough. And I still vent my anger on you. You are both my daughters. Why am I partial and force you to go down the well to save your sister again and again? It must be very dark and cold down there. You must be very scared. Mom covered her face and cried, her shoulders trembling violently. In the last family photo, my sister was wearing a brand new red dress sitting on Dad's lap, while I, because of chemotherapy, stood aside with a bald head, forcing the corners of my mouth to turn up. DeBeo, you survived chemotherapy again and again, but you were killed by me. She closed the album and hugged it tightly in her arms. I wanted to float over and hug her. But the next second, Mom suddenly stood up and walked straight to the balcony. She swayed precariously, as if she would fall down with a gust of wind. It's me. It's my fault. Mom was wrong. Mom is coming to find you. No, Mom, come back. I never blamed you. I yelled desperately but couldn't make any sound. A sense of powerlessness tightly entangled me. I had already lost my sister. I couldn't watch Mom disappear before my eyes again. Perhaps my prayers worked, because Dad rushed out of the study at this time as if he had noticed something, and shouted in horror when he saw this scene. What are you doing? Mom took another half step forward, and showed him an incredibly despairing smile. I'm going to find them, she said softly, her voice frighteningly calm. Then, as if seeking relief, she leaned back and ended her life. Mom. No. I cried heartrendingly. Wasn't it enough for God to take one of me? Why won't you let go of my sister and Mom either? What exactly did we do wrong? Dad numbly dragged Mom's body to the crematorium. This was his third time here. The three people he loved the most were all dead. Dad couldn't hold on any longer, and his spirit completely collapsed. He didn't dare to sleep, because as soon as he closed his eyes, he would see us smiling and appearing in front of him, only to suddenly disappear. Later, Dad began to hypnotize himself. But he wasn't doing it to feel better, but to punish himself. If I hadn't hypnotized DeBeo in the first place, she wouldn't have been cut open in the stomach by a stone and not known it, bleeding to death. How could I do that to my own child? I'm not even human. This family was broken up by me. After the hypnosis, Dad seemed to have come to the bottom of the well as well. He convulsed and curled into a ball, experiencing everything I had suffered. He was in so much pain that his clothes were soaked through, and he even broke a tooth. My DeBeo, so you were in so much pain back then. How desperate you must have been. No, Dad. It's all in the past. I don't blame you. You have to live well with my share and Mom and sister's share. But Dad didn't forgive himself. He believed it was his fault, and he tortured himself in a self-abusive way. It seemed that the more pain he endured, the more he could cleanse his sins. But the human body has its limits, and Dad finally couldn't take it anymore. He died with his eyes wide open, his face still frozen in a look of terror. He was tortured to death. After he died, there was no one left in the house to collect his body. He just lay alone on the floor, festering with maggots. In the end, it was the neighbors who smelled the stench that had him buried. Our family of 4 was buried together. In another form, we were finally reunited. Everything that once was had scattered like dust. Except for the occasional unsuspecting person who passed by this tombstone and lamented how pitiful this family was. But they don't know, we were once very happy. If there is a next life, I still want to be Dad and Mom's child. I still want to have a clingy sister. Only, I hope this time Dad and Mom can give me and my sister the same love.